Hello, my name is Rachel Powers, and my presentation is on cognitive task analysis. Cognitive task analysis, or CTA for short, is defined as a collection of different approaches or methods that are related by their common goal of understanding the mental activities used by experts in completing the task being analyzed. Additionally, CTA provides information about the mental processes used to complete the job that are often omitted from both work-based methods and trait-oriented worker-based methods. So essentially, the point of CTA is to take a list of tasks, for example, and put a magnifying glass over it to look at a very detailed view of how a task is completed from start to finish by looking in a person's head and understanding what they're thinking and what is influencing their decision making. There are several purposes and applications of CTA that include reducing human error for performance measurement, improving training for training programs, increasing systems reliability for systems design, as well as for assessment and selection tools, development of performance aids, to develop understanding of work cultures, particularly regarding change, and replace ineffective models of decision-making in the workplace. There are several methodologies associated with cognitive task analysis, which include interviews and observation with SMEs, team communication methods, which may include something such as a dialogue or question that may occur between colleagues, diagramming methods, verbal report methods such as think aloud, psychological scaling methods, process tracing techniques, which includes eye tracking, protocol analysis, critical incident technique, critical decision method, which is actually the method utilized in the example in one of the upcoming slides, concept mapping, which shows a visual in the center of this slide of roughly what that would look like, automated knowledge elicitation, and simulations or contrived tasks. There are several general steps associated with completing a cognitive task analysis. This is a compilation of what the basic idea is. So first, you need to complete a work-oriented method. So even though we are reviewing worker-oriented methods, for CTA, you need to first pick and complete a work-oriented method. The example that I use on the next slide is a task list or task analysis. So second step is to identify a subset of tasks once that task list has been created. Third, you want to identify both your experts as well as novices, because step number 4, you're going to perform a CTA method to learn how the task experts versus novices systematically complete the task of interest. And then lastly, you are going to need some type of knowledge representation or report to showcase what you found during the job analysis. So here is an example of CTA. Our BLM text does provide an example using a security position at an airport. So again, in general, these are the steps and applying it to an example. First, you want to perform a work-oriented task analysis. You can use other work-oriented options. However, in this example, they did task analysis, which includes the creation of a task list by the employee. The second step, the job analyst selects a couple of the tasks from the list that they want to perform a CTA on, which includes one item or task called screen carry-on luggage. This takes us to the third step, where the analyst observes the task actively being performed and takes notes. and they also use the verbal think aloud method with the SME. So with think aloud, essentially the SME says out loud everything that's going through their minds and what they're thinking as they go through the decision process to decide what to do with the luggage as it goes through the scanning machine. There are 3 possible decision choices to choose from: passing the bag, search the bag manually, or stop the bag for further machine imaging. The first option, passing the bag, means that the carry-on luggage or bag went through the machine. As it went through the X-ray portion, they took a quick glance and they didn't see anything that they deemed alarming or worthy of taking any further action. So the bag then passes through, and then the person who owns the bag is able to pick it up and be along their merry way to go to their plane. The second option, search the bag manually, indicates that they probably saw something on the X-ray that might be shaped similar to something of concern, or it might be a size that could potentially serve a threat, and leads to them making the decision to go ahead and just take a quick look to make sure that everything is okay. The last option, stopping the bag, indicates that the security personnel or even the machine itself identified an item that is threatening and would require further protocol action. The job analyst's job through this job analysis is to determine what cognitive knowledge and skill the expert is using and how the expert employs that information to achieve superior performance. So once they collect all of the information, the job analyst needs to then create a model that explains detailed steps to screen each bag and quickly make a decision. So they need to explain what is going through the security person's mind as they go through bag after bag after bag to make a quick decision about what to do. There are a couple of issues or potential concerns associated with CTA. First, it is most useful to utilize SMEs who are able to perform tasks at a superior level consistently, who have seniority, and or receive peer nomination to serve as an SME. Reliability and validity can vary depending on the methods used for the CTA. So again, there are quite a number of methods that all play into CTA, and depending on which method you use, that will change or dictate what your reliability and validity is. Additionally, the effectiveness of the analyst depends largely on the ability of that analyst to quickly develop proficiency within a domain. They must be able to acquire the fundamental knowledge involved in the task, as well as the specialized vocabulary that might be required for the task of interest. There are advantages and disadvantages to CTA. A couple of advantages. It does identify task details that are often overlooked by work-oriented and other worker-oriented methods. It is also flexible in terms of methods used to complete the CTA, so that again goes back to all those different methods that are associated with CTA. There are also disadvantages. It can and often is expensive and time-consuming. For example, I believe that the decision-making method that I talked about in the example generally takes 2 hours. So just that one little piece of the analysis already is taking 2 hours. Some CTA methods utilize computer modeling and other costly technology that requires additional specialization, etc. CTA is not as useful if the SMEs are not true experts. And again, as previously mentioned, validity and reliability are unclear. These are my references. If you happen to have any questions, comments, or concerns about CTA or anything I mentioned about CTA, please feel free to send me a message through Canvas. Thanks so much.